Why I hate Final, because I've been looking at it for 30 years in boxes, but it is what it is. Right, so time we have left. Season 7, we're almost done. This is a massive season. And here's the thing, really want to talk about Season 8 because it's so good. We were kind of talking about before we went on air how much we like Season 8.
There's no way we're getting to it today.
No, it's not. No. I don't think it is. But we probably will finish
after that massive detour in conversation.
After what is now the episode topic.
Oh, don't tell Keen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. God, I love when a plan doesn't come together.
No, you know, I'm going to do we're going to record a segment of Keen reacting to the show plan, and then it's going to loop that every time he's not on the show because we never hit it. It's like the same thing. It's like what things we didn't do.
Yeah, Dara, tell us what was in this week's show plan.
Oh, in this week's show plan there was Season 7 and the beginning of Season 8 of The Simpsons, a review that we never did, and yeah, that was it.
We got to 40 minutes into the show, we've done none of that.
We've done none of that. Yeah, don't worry, we're professionals. We're professionals at what we do, which is professionally not follow a show plan.
Yeah, it's our gimmick.
Right, so last week we stopped at scenes from the class stroll in Springfield. Next two are Bart the Fink and Lisa the Iconoclast. Now, I have to say, I beat the revenue this week, guys. So Ayn Rand is gonna be proud. I got my tax rebate. I actually was like, oh, my bank account, and then it turns out I got a pretty big tax rebate. Thank you. Just shows you they steal money from you, lads. Watch out. So make sure you do your taxes.
But then they gave it back to you.
Yeah, so... 2 years later. I could have used that 200 quid beforehand. So whatever.
Well, to be fair, I'm self-employed independent artist, so I don't have money for them to steal in the first place.
Nice. That's the secret.
Don't worry, Katie.
Yeah. The secret is to not have any money.
The important thing...
The answer!
The important thing is, remember, guys, taxation is theft. So, that's the important thing. Okay, Bart the Fink. So, a man who did not pay taxes and got taken from it was Krusty the Clown. And he did not do it for years. So this is all about, Krusty the Clown. He gets found out by the IRS, which is hilarious. That whole segment where he goes through the different banks and they're wearing different gimmick. They have the monkey costumes and stuff. It's hilarious. I love the check. I thought you could get that, like a checking account with the Hindenburg.
I was depressed to find you couldn't get those kind of checkbooks. I
really want one of those checkbooks. This is just like the Guys and Dolls thing over and over again. When I was an adult and I realized that they didn't have these checks, I was like, I've been lied to by the Simpsons.
Also finding out the checkbooks weren't a thing anymore also depressed me as an adult.
Yeah, nobody really writes checks anymore.
Well, I remember working in a shop and we're told not to take checks. So it's like that's
we were told that too. Actually,
yeah, it's like don't take checks. It's like all right. The only place I know that took checks is liquor stores, and that always seemed really dodgy. It was like, why did they take checks?
It's just like an official IOU though.
Yeah, I used to. One of my first jobs. Probably my first face painting job, they used to pay me in checks, and it was so inconvenient because you would do a couple of gigs and you might have earned like €30 or something over the space of the month, and then you have to wait a month to get the check, and then they post it out to you, which takes a couple of days, and then you have to put it in the bank, which takes another couple of... So by the time you get the check, it's like a month and a half later.
Wow, that is so inconvenient.
So inconvenient.
Man. I don't know. You should have went with barter. Gave you some goats or something. You have the goats. You have the milk and everything by then.
Milk and cheese.
Okay, I'll paint these.
And then you hit them with a melon ball.
I will take one of them.
What's it? Paint my blitz. I gave you this to paint my blitzens or make my blitzens. Yeah. Those blitzens were terrible. Paint my chicken coop.
Make me.
Is this in it? Because I remember oh yes it is, because I watched this one soon and it's fantastic, but we'll get to that. That's actually my favourite episode of the whole run of this segment. So look, Bart the Fink, it is what it is, has some really good moments. It's not
a quarter.
It'll be for hours. Yeah, it's not the best one, but it does have some really good moments. Guys, what do you think about this episode overall?
Yeah, I'd shadow that. I think it has some good quotes, but not really a whole lot else that I'd praise.
Wait,
I think Peters.
I'm gonna out myself and say that I didn't watch this season, but is this the one with the little mini Krusty guy playing the accordion?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You'll be dancing for hours.
has great moments in it, but overall,
not my porno.
I think once he does once he fakes his death,
yeah, it kind of falls down.
The steam comes out, the energy goes out of the episode. Granted, the not a quarter is a great moment.
It's like it feels like they could have done more with an incognito Krusty that they just didn't.
Yeah.
Next one though makes up for it though. It's one of the best ones in the whole series. Lisa the Iconoclast. Now, has my favorite joke, which I didn't get as a kid because of course you didn't. But in hindsight, I do. It's where Lisa writes out the report. And then the teacher's like, it's women like you that keep the rest of us from getting a husband. And then Homer's like, I've been called a greasy tub before and it never stops hurting. And I'm like, that's just phenomenal. It's brilliant. It's so good.
I also have to I love that Donald Sutherland is the best voice.
Yeah.
It's so well. It's perfect.
I absolutely love that moment where he's like, he gets furious at Lisa. He's like, "You're banned from here. You're banned. Your children are banned, and your children's children are banned
for 6
months.
3 months." And just the sequence they managed to fit in a goddamn sequence where George Washington fights a pirate. That's
No, what I like about this is there's so much world building in it where you're like, actually, all this kind of makes sense. Where you're like, yeah, I suppose like.
Of course, this town was built by a pirate.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense. Like, 'cause the actual narrative that they've told you is so like hokey and doesn't really make any sense. It's like, yeah, probably, it's probably. But also Homer as well as the town crier. Dig up that corpse. It's just it's fantastic.
Here we all make mistakes.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's great.
I'd say of all the episodes on this one, this is like one that I'd recommend to people along with like King Size Homer. It's just fantastic. Homer to Smithers again. This is one. This would be my go-to as well for my cooking level before I learned to do it, where I was afraid to make cereal.
Oh, it's still my cooking level.
Oh, fair. Well, I can make everything except for chicken because every time I try, I get myself food poisoning. So, no dice.
I just don't make chicken.
I don't make chicken. I do not. I get other people to make chicken for me when I do. I'm like, I will make beef products. No chicken.
I'm like the opposite. I can only make chicken.
Oh, really? I'm afraid. I still remember.
Screw up beef.
Yeah, well, beef. Yeah, that's
it.
it.
You have to cook it.
Yeah, you just it does it for you. But chicken is like, oh, you're going to try kill me again. I just know you are. So nope. Homer to Smithers. So this one is. I watched it obviously on my PlayStation 3, but when you watch it on Channel 4 and Sky, they hack it to bits because of Smithers' vacation. They don't.
Oh, doesn't he go to like Fire Island or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
for gay erasure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they get cut a lot that out. So you're like, well, okay. But yeah. Really
it's a shame that they do though, because you missed that amazing bit where he stops the speedboat suddenly and the human pyramid behind him on the water completely topples over.
See, this is it. By cutting it so aggressively, they lose a lot of the jokes. So
It's like the I can't remember any specific ones in this episode, but it's like the way that on Disney Plus the aspect ratio issue does ruin a lot
yeah.
jokes.
Well, they fixed that now.
They fixed it now. Yeah.
They fixed it. You just have to manually set it,
Yeah.
which is still awful.
Yeah, because who would want to keep it like that?
Exactly.
It's just madness.
It does have one of my favorite jokes, which is the phone call about the car cube.
Oh,
Is it about my cube?
Is it about my cube?
You have 30 minutes to move your car. Your car has been impaired. Your car has been cubed. You have 30 minutes to move your cube.
No, I also love, where you hear this big ringing and then it just pulls back and it's this tiny bell. It's through a big funnel. It's just fantastic. Or
hello, Mr. Burns. I am your mother.
I don't love you. I don't love you, Montel. It's so good. It's so good.
It's one that I remember seeing. I hardly remembered anything for it, and it just made me cry the entire way through. It's gold.
It's brilliant. It's so good. It's so tight. It's so witty and smart. It's fantastic. Quality Simpsons. The Day the Violence has died. Really like this one. It has a lot of nostalgic moments. Pretty much from playing Hit and Run, where you could actually get Chester
the
Lambert's rocket car. And I was like, we're finding
and
that.
And it didn't turn, and it felt great.
Yeah, you're just like, this is brilliant. So, that alone for inspiring it is great. But this also has, paint my blitzens. Paint my fence, paint my chicken coop. Those blitzes are awful. Make me.
It also has like top tier Lionel Hutz moments as well. With with him in the courtroom as well. And just go, it's like, do you have any evidence to show? It's like, well, we have conjecture and hearsay. Those are kinds of evidence.
Also has the now iconic "I'm a Men Meant to Be" song, which is fantastic. And this is one show that we would just quote a lot as kids, like not teenagers. Particularly the "Paint My Chicken Coop, Make Me," and then also the "Amendment to Be" we quote a lot too. Because this period, this like season 7 and 8, rotated all the time in Ireland, all the time. Just ad nauseum. A Fish Called Selma. I don't know.
There's too many bits in it that I love.
Don't know.
I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know. I
don't know how many times I quote that, like all of that musical. Across like a week.
This is very much the same case as like Bart the Fink, where it has like those standout incredible moments, which obviously, Dr. Zayas, which again I thought was a real thing, also not a real thing.
No.
Oh, come on, man.
I know.
You're doing this to me.
I know. I know it's Amadeus.
It's a Falco song.
I know it's a Falco song. I know. I know. My dad's a DJ. I know that. But it's like, I still thought it was in Planet of the Apes.
You're shattering all of my childhood illusions here.
Right? It could be an hour version of Planet of the Apes.
Fair.
You're telling me there's not a chimpanzee?
Yes, I finally made a monkey.
Can I play?
But no, this does have like it had a moment I did not get as a kid, but the whole running joke through the episode about Troy McClure. I'm going
to SeaWorld. Yeah, that's the bit where I'm like, oh wow, okay.
His romantic abnormality.
Yeah.
It's so shocking and depraved that if we were ever to get out, no, not that.
Oh
God!
I thought you said Troy McClure was dead. I said he sleeps with the fishes. I didn't mention that he was dead.
They kept bringing it up, and I was like, "Think this the whole thing." I just forgot how many times they mentioned it across the episode.
I love the bit where he's just like, "Oh no, please! I just had a whole a whole plate of pasta bagool."
I absolutely love that the room that he wanted to have sex with Salma in as well.
Surrounded by
underwater in a shellfish theme. It's unreal.
But it's on a cliff as well. Yeah. It's so elaborate. It's so strange.
The guy has issues, man.
This is another one where like this properly just fleshed out the character of Troy McClure, and I love that. I can't fault that at all.
Yeah. I feel sorry for Selma. It shows that what she's willing to go along with, but then once they bring up kids, she's like, look, I don't want to do that. And it's like, that even though she's kind of horrible to Homer, she is fundamentally a decent person. It's like,
I mean, Homer can deserve it.
Yeah, Homer's not exactly a decent person himself.
Put it this way, if my sister went out with a Homer Simpson, I wouldn't be thrilled.
Exactly. That's fair.
I kind of the older I get, the more I understand why they're crap to him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Bart on the Road, one that has two of the best Simpsons moments ever. Also ones that have been quoted a lot, and now that are memes. The first one that's pointed back to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And just the whole sequence, Bart, can we stop for ice cream? Yeah. It's just the whole car thing is just fantastic.
But something that I actually use in everyday life is always some kind of adaptation of, well, first it started falling over and then it fell
over. So you're gonna buy some wigs or get it?
Also, it's just like, okay, World's Fair, Disneyland, Ogdenville, what's it? Nashville. It's brilliant. Also, first time they use computer CG generated animation in The Simpsons is when they're panning the car around. First time that was done in The Simpsons. Yeah, so just a bit of trivia there. Look, it's a good episode. Not the best by any stretch of imagination, but has some fantastic moments.
It's a classic.
It's up there. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those episodes where like it probably, in terms of joke rate, it probably isn't that high, but the story is so damn good that you don't really care.
So
like
also, I didn't get the Marlon Brando reference because I didn't know who Marlon Brando was when I was 8, but now I do. And I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah,
it all gets wrapped up in the bow with Marge answering the phone. No, Bart can't take package to Winnipeg. Principal Skinner. No, Bart's never been to Hong Kong.
I also love the bit with Nelson revealing his obsession with Andy Williams.
Yeah. Oh, we don't need to go there. Yes, we do. All right, guys.
Or the technician on the phone when Homer's just pouring the soda.
Like, oh God! What's going on? Oh God! Oh man,
so great.
Right, 22 short films about Springfield.
Classic.
Yes, absolutely
amazing.
Everything about it. Everything about it.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny before I saw Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Now I think it's incredible.
Although to be fair, you see how dark. What's the guy's name? Let's go with the arm.
Oh,
Herman.
Herman.
You see how dark Herman is. You're like, oh well, if he's going to do what was happening in Pulp Fiction, you're like,
he
man,
gets close.
Yeah, it's
they
just
always
like,
alluded to that though. Like he runs the gun shop.
Yeah, but you don't think he's going to do what happened in Pulp Fiction, like. He's dark, but you don't think it's that dark. We lost Kev. Did we lose Kev?
No, he's back.
Okay.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
He's
okay.
Paused. We're good. Oh god, now I'm playing Simpsons. Oh no.
Right. So yeah, again, absolute one that you need to watch.
Yeah.
Raging Apes
Professor Frank. He makes you laugh. He makes.
That monkey's gonna pay.
Raging Apes and his groomed grandson in Curse of the Flying Hellfish. This is
Love
one that
one.
I love this one, but I always forget about it because I think on my files it's not actually there. So I actually forget about it until I went back and watched it on Sky. This is a really good episode.
See, it's not the funniest, but it's the story it tells.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Really
It's
good.
really dark.
Really dark. But
The fact that he's in a tontine to begin with.
I love the fact that Ox knows what a tontine is.
Yeah.
It's just we'll be
First and last time we see Ox, but I love him. I love him so much.
Ox and Elsa as well. So they're the one and a few others. It's like
Asa.
That's it. It's like, come on, who do you want these? The Nazis, the guys that shoot us all day. Come on, we can have them. We'll be rich as Nazis. And you're like, Burns is such a horrible human being, man. He just it just is.
The badminton with the grenade.
I love the Skinner's rationalization. It's like, I could have 3 chicken dinners a day.
Oh no! Oh, so sad.
Oh my god! But yeah,
it is fun to see just kind of all these characters just dads themselves basically, but just like in World War II, that's just fun.
To be fair,
So
if you ever wanted to do a kind of spin-off, that wouldn't be a bad thing to do.
Yeah, have a bit of a Dad's Army feel.
Yeah, it's something they could do, but obviously, it'd be a totally different show. But look, I enjoyed it. It has some fantastic jokes. It gives Burns so much play to be like a super villain, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But not like a comic super, more like a Lex Luthor kind of thing where he's so scheming.
It's almost like an Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, it feels
villain.
like that too. Also, it has the best bit with the German guy at the end. Yeah, it's just I forgot about that.
It's going back to the descendants of the person that had. Get in the trunk.
Get in the trunk.
Hey, don't damage the CD changer.
He's brilliant. I love that guy.
So great.
He's so good.
Hey, fun boys, get a move.
Yeah, so good. Oh man. Okay.
So great.
So then we have Much Ado About Nothing, which is had the bear tax. I don't want to pay the bear tax. I paid Homer tax. No, the homeowner tax. Spectacular.
It's also like he's also complaining about how expensive it is. When it's like a $5 tax is like
the lowest increase. Oh man, I just the whole sequence is just phenomenal. Just making fun of
Skinner planning ahead for the angry mob is just such a great little moment.
Do they have an appointment? Yes, they do. I phoned ahead. Homer Palooza. Now this is great. This is like the Smashing Pumpkins one, which again, this would be my first exposure to the Smashing Pumpkins as a kid. And it kind of hits it perfectly, really. But
it's gold. It's just like the music, just like the kind of the music jokes in the 90s kind of alt rock scene just hit me particular. But the whole sequence, first Homer steals my pig, then Cypress Hill steal my orchestra, and now Sonic Youth are going through my cooler.
Get out of
come
here,
on,
you
Mr. Frampton.
You're not going to eat
You're
all
not
that
gonna eat all
watermelon.
that watermelon.
Guys,
But yeah, no, the Smashing Pumpkins jokes. It's like Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins, Homer Simpson smiling politely.
guys, if you want to continue in on the bands here and you're listening to on Phoenix 92.5 FM, what are you doing? Go over to YouTube and check us out. nerdtoknowmedia.com is where you can check out the rest of the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue breaking this down, guys. So we'll see you after this quick break. Okay, and we're back. There will be better ads eventually. Thanks for sticking with this stream. But yeah, Homer Palooza. Fantastic.
It's so great.
It's
such a good show.
like end to end. It just has great, just non-stop jokes.
Yeah.
It's how I found out. It's how I found out about Grand Funk Railroad, and Grand Funk Railroad are incredible.
Here's the thing, right? So, do you know the bit where he's explaining all the music? It's like I used to be with it, but well, yeah. It's like one that's kind of starting to happen as we're rounding up towards 30 or beyond. But the bit where your dad explains stuff, you're like, it's so accurate. Where you're like, your parents are talking about stuff from 70s and 80s, and you're like, wow, this is literally The Simpsons. Like, it's like, this is just what happened, you know? So it's crazy that it just has that, like, this, even so late into its run, it still has that slice of life kind of real world thing where you're like, wow, Simpsons actually gets it. They really understand what they're doing. So, fair play. And then the jokes are great. You know, Billy Corgan should be on everything. I love Billy Corgan. Good guy. And yeah. So there we go. Next one, wrapping up. So, a week ending to a great series, but a very good episode. What do you guys think on that statement?
Probably fair. I did really enjoy the episode overall. I love the idea though of like Lisa questioning who she is and her trying to branch out and make herself into a entirely different person to see if she could actually fit in with people, kind of like experimenting with who she is.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it has a nice message of that, like she's actually fine the way she is.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd say, yeah, no, I'd call it actually a very good ending to a season because it really just it stops it off on that kind of real emotional high.
I think it's more. I think where myself and Dara come from more is like it's the joke rate isn't spectacular.
It isn't again coming off Much About Nothing and Son of Homer Palooza. It's not as good.
No,
but here's the thing: the placement of it. Now, this happened in May 19th, right, 1996. So it is a summer episode. So I suppose it just kind of makes sense in its placement, and then it would kind of pick up around fall for the season 8. So I suppose that's probably what they were going for. But again, this is what we lose watching it 20 years later, 20 plus years later in 30 years later in a nutshell, you know, in isolation. So yeah, look, I like it. It's great to see like the guest stars are great. It does have the dud date game where it looks at Millhouse. It's like, hey, Poindexter. It's fantastic. But yeah, like it was what it was, and I think it does have a good message. But definitely,
yeah, good message. I mean, how did the proper way to celebrate the independence of your country by blowing a chunk of it up? A great message.
It's great. It's so funny. I actually kind of would wish they'd go back to that house and do an episode in it because they never went back to it. Which is, you think they would have because it's been established, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, it's the Flanders house, so the Simpsons have no reason to go back to that house.
Yeah, but
He might ask them to look after it again.
Yeah, but Homer just steals from Flanders all the time anyway, so that doesn't matter. You know, you can just say, hey, I'm using your house, sorry.
Yeah, but with the amount of post-it notes that Ned leaves around, I mean, would you want to go back?
Actually, there's a great one there. I forgot that. You know, put food in me. And he just takes it and puts it
Or it's fill me. Oh, thanks, Ned. With what? With water.
I love that. Like, that's the first kind of real sassy marriage where she's like, I've had enough of this, you know. And it's just like, it's brilliant, fantastic. But overall, guys, here is where we come down to it. What rating are we going to give this episode? So I'll start with Bryn. You first.
So I really enjoyed season 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and I didn't enjoy this as much as either of those seasons. It has great episodes in it, has great moments in it, but I do think it is I do think out of those seasons, which I would say are probably higher than it, I would have to give it like an 8.75 out of 10, because it's slightly weaker than 5 overall, I think.
Okay, Katie.
I don't know, because like for me, watching The Simpsons in season form is kind of weird, just purely because when I watched it as a kid, there were no seasons. It was just whatever was on. So they all kind of feel like definitive Simpsons.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to decide, just because to me it all feels right, and then separating them into seasons is just a bit odd.
Yeah, and but again, like I think, as we said, 5, 6, 7, and 8 even, they are peak Simpsons, because that's what we were kind of shown over and over again, right? So they're your they're your definitive episodes. So yeah, it makes sense. You know, I would say when I come to it, I will kind of circle back to that point. But before that, Kev, do you want to jump in there?
I'd go with a solid 8. Like, I think just, has some low points. Not bad low points, but not as good as it could have been. Some solid episodes. But I know for a fact that we are getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, it's with me, I kind of agree with Katie there. That's kind of how I watched The Simpsons as well. You know, growing up, it's like, it was all The Simpsons until it wasn't, right? But I didn't
even know what a season was when I was a child.
That's fair. But again, like, what, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they were repeated over and over again. So they do share a lot of that nostalgic memory. And I think everyone listening to this, even watching this over a certain age, who match your age, or even who's from Ireland, and for some reason Australia, the Australians seem to love The Simpsons a lot as well, just like us. So they must have had the same kind of experience. But yeah, man, I would agree. This would kind of tie with season 5 for me. It's better than season 6 by a lot. It has probably my 2 or 3 favorite episodes of Simpsons in it. When I go back, and if I want to watch something, I will just stick it on and I'll have a great time. Season 8 is coming up, and I didn't think I'm going to enjoy that as much as I probably am, but yeah, it has some great episodes. So we will get to that, and we can continue it on, because we don't know, this lockdown doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon, so nothing's happening, so at least we get to keep going on The Simpsons. But guys, you're really busy. You have a lot of shows coming up. Now, we just did the rewind, so it's up on the channel if you guys haven't checked it out. It's going to obviously go out at its normal times. But let's start with Katie. Your shows have been fantastic recently. I've really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You always bring out some really good guests. I'm always kind of excited to see who you have, because it's always very different. But who have we got this week?
So this week we have Warren Blair, who is a photographer from up north, who is really good. He does like creative stuff and weddings, but he also does a lot of cosplay stuff, so very, very interesting for nerdy people. And that will be coming out tomorrow lunchtime, or if you're listening on Saturday, 2 days ago. And also just want to throw in that we are coming to the end of, so I have a list of names of people on the show. We're kind of starting to come to the end of that within the next couple of weeks, so if you want to be on the show, please email in.
Oh, definitely. And you can just use the nerdtoknowmedia at gmail.com email address, and we'll get that set up for you. So that's cool. And Kev, you just dropped a new show there over the bank holiday.
Yeah, latest episodes 3 of Anime Crash Course dropped over on the bank holiday Monday. This time it was myself, Keith, and Lisa talking about 2019's The Promised Neverland. Spooky Yuki, horror, kids getting eaten. It's a fun time. Lisa hated it, but we all loved it. It's great. It's great. No, I had a real blast filming the episode. It was great fun, and you can hear all about that on the channel.
And what's coming up next? Have you guys decided yet?
We have. This time we are doing the time travel sci-fi escapade of Steins Gate.
Right, I'm on that.
You keep saying.
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting when it's on, and then you're like, I record it.
The recording is on the schedule.
I know, but I keep forgetting, and I'm like, oh, that's today. No, I will be on it. I will ensure, because I love Steins Gate. I love Steins
Is this Steins Gate? Is that on? You said it was on Netflix.
It is. It
Okay,
is.
I will
It
do
is.
my best to be on that one too. Then.
Steins Gate, because there is a lot of crossover. Because we mentioned Steins Gate on our time travel episode of From the Dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I actually go into Steins Gate as because John Teeter's in Steins Gate, and
Yeah.
you know that's a big part of it. So if you guys haven't checked it out in preparation, check out From the Dark, or the time travel episode, and I will try to remember when that's on because I always forget, and that's why I haven't been on them. But I enjoy listening to them, so they're always.
It
fun.
is. Steins Gate is, in my opinion, the best piece of media about time travel.
Oh, have you? There is a.
Those are some strong words.
There's some strong words. There's some really good ones though as well. But
No,
so
and
it
I
gets
mean,
pretty close.
about it, not with a plot point revolving around it.
Oh, fair enough.
Doctor Who
Okay,
is not about time travel.
Fair.
Have you seen FAQ about time travel? It's a BBC film. I'll send you a link.
Please do.
But yeah, it's hard to find. It's hard to find good stories about time travel.
Well,
Yeah, because it's mostly used as a cop out.
well, what we might do, guys, we might do a time travel special if we can find interest, where we talk about media based. So that's something we could do. And if there's interest, let us know.
And we have to make sure Keane does not talk about Doctor Who.
Well, we
No, absolutely let him talk about Doctor Who.
we'll keep a counter to see how long it takes him to get to it.
Yeah.
So we'll be fine.
And then we'll see how quickly myself and Derek can derail it to talk about Aerostar.
Oh man! But Bryn, before we go,
Yes.
again, how's the show going, and when can people expect it?
Terribly. How it's going. Basically, I made a pilot, and it's awful. So I've been editing the hell out of it, and I'm trying to make it sound good, but it doesn't sound good. So
But it's the pilot.
Exactly.
yeah, I know.
The
But
pilot doesn't have to be the top quality.
it
Bryn,
doesn't have to be, but I need it to be.
to quote Homer, yearly, dig up that corpse. Yeah, just post it.
You
It'll be
should
fine.
you should just at some point you should just do what I do, is that when you've been working on something so long that you start to overwork it, just take a step back.
See, you think all these
Yeah.
years working with me would rub off on them, where you just kind of freeball it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the problem is that like
Doesn't
when it comes to sitting down and doing an edit, I tend to get quite diligent about it. And
Oh,
then
you're
I just
talking to
find-
someone who spends 6 hours per episode of a half-hour show.
That's crazy, guys. Seriously, literally, what I do is I might put this through editing software. I might do. Sometimes I just don't bother because it's fine. But yeah, it just is what it is. But these guys put in all the work, so
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's because I just can't do it. I need it to sound good. I completely understand that idea of spending 6 hours, because that's
on a half-hour show.
yeah. But again, I'm sure it wasn't half hours when you started.
No, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually elongated since.
Well,
Yeah, that I know that pain as well.
Well, look,
But,
Yeah.
you're hearing the pain, and if you haven't checked out their shows, it's totally worth it.
Yeah,
but
please check out the shows to make my 6 hours worth of editing worth it.
Exactly.
Whenever-
Validate me. Validate me.
Validate me.
whenever Tech Takeover does come out, and I'm hoping for soon. That's all I can do is hope. But whenever it does come out, please do check it out. It will be on all the necessary feeds.
So what you got to do,
Um,
guys, is at Bryn,
Yep.
Bryn cast,
Yep.
and just add them for the show, and that's what you do. Because bullying works.
Yeah,
No.
just keep poking him.
Don't really bully people.
You know,
Poke,
like
poke,
all you
poke.
have to all you have to do is just look at the pyramids and remind yourself that slavery does get things done. So,
Oh my god.
I'm not touching that one.
Wow. And on that joyous note,
yeah.
we're going to end the show, guys. So thank you very much for joining us this week, and we'll be back next week if we're not cancelled.
Bryn.
We'll see you guys next week, and don't forget, subscribe below, hit the bell, all that good stuff. If you want to comment below, or go over to nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.